be working up until we open the doors.
I know you
And then
will,
be
and then you'll
working
be
there.
working harder while you're playing too. So that's,
Yeah,
I have had to manage different events in my careers, and it's never boring, especially once the
exactly.
gate
We're
opens.
having, especially when the wrestlers are there. Steve, listen to me. Steve, are you a wrestler? Gene Snitsky, Rick Savage, the Samoan, Pretty and Gritty. They are all going to be there, and they can get the crowd going. They're
I bet.
amazing guys.
Well, I just know 3 people from Birmingham that decided they wish they were riding with me.
See,
So,
maybe you can get some hitchhikers to come with you so you don't have to travel alone.
well, that's always a good possibility. One of my team members covers wrestling with part of his media
See?
project, and
Awesome.
he's really interested in things like that. So, and even I, who do not follow wrestling, knows who Rick Savage is.
Yeah, he's
So,
awesome. He's a very good friend of ours. Rick and Rita Savage.
yeah, because when I used to live in Georgia, I would go where they all would hang out, like after hours and stuff. So I got to know
Uh-huh.
people, but that's actually a really huge draw. That and the Batmobile.
Yeah.
I love the Batmobile. So,
Oh, and then we're having Victorian carriage rides. So we're going to have a historian on the carriage rides, and as they go through our living history, our tour guide will be talking about the different elements there with the living history. Am I leaving anything out, Steve?
does he have your checklist as you're going down?
No, he's on Facebook. I could have made it seem like he was really working hard, but no, he's on Facebook.
Well, you know what? That gets the information out and sees who's asking questions too, so it's all good. And your cousin is actually in the Spreaker chat listening to you. So as opposed to
Who
the
is?
big chat, Bonnie Adams.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Kat.
Bonnie Adams.
Oh, that's my cousin Bonnie Jean.
Yeah. So she is over on the Spreaker side where we also have chat, which I learned
Very
fairly
cool.
recently. So I'm still new to this. I did not know I had a chat room on Spreaker. So it's
Nice.
awesome. I love it because I like when people give feedback and have information and, seek information. But
Exactly.
it's just awesome. That's why I love doing my show and made sure that I could find a way to do it because, you just really have to be able to help people and get them information so that they can understand what they're experiencing or find someone who can help them with that. It's a big deal. So,
Oh, exactly.
and people like you help with that because, you don't just run these businesses. You are a fantastic paranormal investigator with a lot of history. And someone
Thank you.
in chat, my friend Brenda, said that what kind of experience did you have that led to your current involvement?
My first experience was when I was quite young. I was at my grandma Kate's house, and there was a lady at the bottom of the bed. And she had a long bedclothes on, and the dog was outside barking. So the dog sensed this lady at the bottom of the bed. And my grandmother the next day, who was Native American, slept with a loaded gun under her pillow. And she said, "Pam, do not be walking through the bedroom like that at night. I might shoot you." And I just said, "All right, Grandma." So that was one of my first ones. But now I see that lady from time to time. And when I see her, I know that there's a big change about to come. So she's kind of my messenger.
Right.
So when I see her, whether it's good or bad, there's going to be a shift in my life. So that was my first experience.
That's a pretty intense one and something to really take home with you from it, too.
Wait, I grew up kind of odd. My weekends were having seances, and we played with the Ouija board every day.
I have had to go clean up after people who played with the Ouija board every day. Did you not have any repercussions? Was it always positive?
Well, luckily, yeah. I mean, I used to talk to a spirit named Joseph on my Ouija board, and yeah, I've never had a bad experience, but I've never really shared my Ouija board with like the mass people. Just a couple friends, we would sit around. I actually have one under my bed.
Is that at storage place, or is that in case an emergency arises?
I don't know. It's just kind of, it's beautiful. It has this beautiful angel on it.
Oh.
So she's just under my bed.
But
I'm the only one that's ever played with it. So I open it with a good intent. I close it, and I do all the right things. But I kind of feel like, Ouija board's no different than an SB7 or any kind of paranormal equipment. Even us, when we're going through that veil to talk through the veil to spirit, I believe that anything could open up and follow us through that veil. It's a very dangerous thing that we do, and not everybody respects that. And I think that's when you get into some trouble.
I agree. I find it interesting that you compared the SB7 to the Ouija, because you know what? Anytime that you're opening communication,
yep,
you do not know for absolute certain who you have. And
even a pendulum.
Right. Yes. And I actually just tried a pendulum, but it's still a means of communication, and you still don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Some things are designed to deceive. That's how they achieve their goals. So you do have to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we get Class A EVPs out of the Gettysburg Ghost Exchange all the time. Our store sits on 2.5 acres of undisturbed battlefield. We go from the historic Baltimore Pike back to the National Cemetery. So, and we have a pretty old barn on our property. But people get touched and tugged all the time in our store. So one night before we closed, we locked the doors up, but before we left, Steve's like, we have to do an EVP session. There's somebody here that wants to talk to us. So the day before, we were talking about different equipment that we like, that we don't like. So we had some things sitting around, and we were talking to Spirit, and then somebody said, now, we're at the bottom of Culp's Hill, which was a Union stronghold. Culp's Hill, Little Round Top, Big Round Top were the high water marks. Union had to hold them. So we're at the bottom of Culp's Hill, and so somebody said, do you know that the South lost the war? What do you think about that? And I never say we captured, because a spirit, you don't capture things from a spirit. Spirit gifts you with it.
Absolutely.
So the Spirit said to us, after we said, do you know that the South lost the war? How do you feel about that? He said, we won. Wow. And it drug out that last wow.
Really?
And then you hear me go, I go, wow, because I'm validating that our equipment went bing, and it just didn't stop. And I'm like, wow. So I knew that we had something on there that we had to go back and listen to.
Right.
It's amazing. If I never get another EVP, it's the best EVP that Spirit ever gave me.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
What?
I
thought that you were saying something else. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I keep no secrets about Gettysburg. When people come into my store and say, where should I go? I tell them. Because the point of us being investigators is to get evidence, and then to share that evidence so that we all become knowledgeable. Now, I'm not saying that you should give your evidence away, but share it.
Well, share your knowledge on how to attain it, at least.
Exactly. So people come in, and I'm like, hey, get to the Thaddeus Stevens house. There's a little girl named Selma in there. See if you get her. Validate my evidence, and maybe I can validate your evidence. I love doing that. I love sharing and networking with people. What it's about.
It is. Gosh, it's over a year or so ago now. I was speaking with Lloyd Auerbach, who is like, the original ghost hunter. But when we were speaking, I said, what do you think about paranormal unity? Because I keep hearing it, and I keep hearing people talking about, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. But nobody wants to share their methods. Everybody will share some evidence, but they're always afraid that someone is going to steal. I don't know what anyone would do with it if they took it, but, it's not like all of us are going to rush out and sign contracts with travel. But, I do know for a fact that I was a judge in a paranormal evidence contest with some really super duper prizes, and we got so few entries. The entries that we got were pretty amazing, but we got so few entries that it was just ridiculous, because we charged $5 per entry, and which was going into the prize pool. But then there was a year's contract for a radio show on a really good network, and it was just really a lot of stuff. And nobody would share. And I started thinking what Lloyd had said, when there needs to be units of measure, standard units of measure, so that you compare apples to apples and not apples to zebras, and things like that, right? And everybody's so protective for no apparent reason.
Well, the Gettysburg Ghost Exchange, I feel, is an extension of my home. So I welcome every team into my home, my store. I serve you Deadly Grounds coffee. We get a little deadly, and we sit and we talk evidence. And I think that's why our store has grown to be the largest on the East Coast, because I'm not afraid to share with you.
Right. That's one of the things I like the very most about you.
Thanks.
Well, there's a lot, but I do admire that greatly, because you want people to learn, and you want people to experience, and you want to help them understand how to do that, and to understand what they did experience.
Right. And I want to learn from you as well. If you have something to offer me, I am teachable. I will listen and learn from anyone as well.
See, that's so rare and so cool. Or maybe up there it's not so rare, but it is here.
I think, I don't know. If I change, I really love to see a difference. There's people that come into our store and they become my tribe.
I could see that. I imagine your tribe is quite large.
It has, and you know what? I'm humbled. I can name a few people that have come in, and we actually have become family. Susan Williams, she came in, and her husband Glenn, they have Boneyard Paranormal, and they moved from Baltimore to Littlestown. And I absolutely love, Patty Black, SOS Paranormal. I love her to death. I love what she does. There's just so many people. James Wyrick, who introduced us to the Thaddeus Stevens house, and Dave Haney. It's just amazing. Nikki Para Unnormal, Nikki Novell,
right?
Rob. There's so many people who have helped us along the way, and I don't forget them.
Well, you can't, because they are tribe, they are family. And I think it's really great that you create that environment that people can enjoy.
And I love they reciprocate it back. Maybe not at first. They're kind of like, hey.
Right.
Sheila Gay, she just came into our store from Texas. She went on, we have, it's called Hallowed Ground Tours. We bought a limo. We kind of wanted to think out of the box. So we wanted to take people to off the beaten path. And actually, one of our customers named our tour. He was like, this is really off the beaten path. And I was like, can I take that? And he was